Thank you for watching. Today we're taking a look at my Traxxas TRX4. I've had this thing out on the trails twice. The second run it broke down, and that's of course a perfect excuse to start upgrading. So what I actually broke is one of the front axles, one of the CVDs. Not a big deal, seems to be a freak accident. I haven't heard anybody else having the same problem. So I'm really going to give this truck a fair chance. People seem to think that I really hate it. That's not the case, you know, it just takes a bit of getting used to, I guess. Traxxas TRX4, very popular truck. Right now they've also released that, I think it looks ridiculous, but that tactical body, just not really my taste. I do like the Defender body. Comes with a ton of accessories. That's not what I want to talk about in this video, but I do want to talk about what those actually do. So for example, you got this whole roof rack thing that sits over the body with like an exo cage, and then there's like a spare wheel carrier with like a rock jack and some jerry cans, stuff like that. And it also adds a whole lot to well, what is considered like the sprung weight. If you're not familiar with sprung and unsprung weight, it's pretty simple. Everything that sits above the shock absorbers is the sprung weight, and everything that sits below them, so everything that's in direct contact with the wheels and the tires, that's unsprung weight. And that's also something that I addressed and that I want to talk about in this video, because I upgraded a ton of stuff on the axles, links and whatnot. A company that provides a ton of these upgrades to the TRX4 community is Samix. Now, if you haven't heard of them, they're really worth checking out. I will make sure that there's a link to their website in the video description, which is rcsamix.com. They're based out of Hong Kong, and they make some really cool stuff for the TRX4. If you want to add more to the unsprung weight of your truck, because what happens out on the trails, for example, is you're at an incline or whatnot, the sprung weight of your truck shifts, and then the unsprung weight can't quite counterbalance it, and it makes you tumble down a hill. Now, I'm thinking that adding some unsprung weight to this truck is actually going to help a whole lot. You can of course do that by adding some wheel weights or whatnot, but there you have a lot of rotating mass, and rotating mass as well, if you want to slow that down, that puts a massive amount of strain on, well, in this case, all the gears inside your portals. Your diffs, which are lockable and whatnot, I mean, I don't want to put a lot of stress on those either. Your drive shafts, your 2-speed gearbox, and then eventually everything else that's like involving the entire drivetrain. So I want to not add rotating mass, I just want to add weight to the axles. Now, one way of doing that is with Samix parts. So you have, for example, these hub carriers. These are the plastic ones that sit on the truck, but you can replace them with these brass ones. Same goes for the steering knuckles and the portal covers. So the parts that I actually added to the truck are portal covers front and back, the steering knuckles left and right, the carriers then, and also the link mounts. So all of that is, I know that it looks perhaps stock, but I will make sure you get a close-up of them and see that it is actually machined brass. Really easy to install. All you do is you basically dismantle your hub carriers and your portals completely, take the bearings out, and you just transfer all that running gear into those new brass portal covers, steering knuckles, and all that stuff. Reassemble everything, and you're good to go. Now, they've coated these with like a black finish apart from the edges. I think they just machined the edges to show you that it is actually brass, and the black coating avoids it corroding, because brass, of course, out on the trails, and especially if you get it in contact with some salt, mud, snow, whatever, it will corrode, and this black coating actually prevents that. Installing this, really simple. The hub covers on the front and the back, they're completely the same, and then these steering knuckles, they're marked, so you got right and left. Really easy, you cannot go wrong with those at all. On the other side, you will see that I installed some fake brake discs. Those are also from Samix. I decided to mount them this way around, but you can also, of course, mount the calipers on the back of your front axle, and then on the front of your rear axle. Whatever you want to do. I think they look really cool, especially once I mount the wheels to it. You will still be able to see those discs and calipers. Just adds a tiny bit of detail. I didn't mount them on the other side yet, just because I want you to have a clear view on what I actually did over there. Another thing that Samix offers is, because you can see over here all these corroded little bits. These are the stock links. So that's lower links, upper links, both front and back, panhard bar, steering links, all of that stuff. Samix has a complete package which consists of new links in titanium. All of those are laser etched, by the way, so you get like a full package with those links, and you don't have to sort of like measure them up yourself to make sure that you don't get it twisted, because they are all marked. So these actually say front lower, rear upper, steering links are marked, so you cannot get it wrong. Just take your time, take them off one at a time, I suggest, because the rod ends are slightly different from the front to the back, and they're between the top mounts and the lower or the top links and the lower links. There are a few differences in those rod ends, so make sure you just take off one at a time, replace them with a new titanium link, and you're good to go. Now this will also give me a tiny bit more clearance, because the lower ones, they're actually bent, so I think that's a good thing as well in getting some more performance. Weight wise, I have not weighed these plastic parts, but I think if I hold everything in my hands, it's between 70 and 80 grams. I know that these new Samix parts, they actually weigh over 300 grams, so I added about, I'm thinking 220 grams of unsprung weight to the truck currently, which is pretty much a whole lot if you consider that the entire truck in itself, with the body mounted to it and whatnot, weighs approximately 3.3 kilos. So that will make a big difference out on the trails. If you're wondering what else I did to the truck, this is a Mamba X speed controller with a Castle Slate motor. This is the 2280. I'm thinking that especially right now with some added weight, this motor is going to do fantastic. Nice and low RPMs as well, so also with that 2-speed gearbox, we'll still keep that usable. I replaced the steering servo. I got a new servo at RC Mart. This is a waterproof Samox steering servo, because I really did not like the performance of the stock servo. Now another part that Samix makes, which I'm going to put in with my next order, is servo horns. So that as well is going to be replaced, because I do not like this plastic servo horn that's currently still on there. And that's about it for the chassis. Now in the next video you will see me paint up the body. We'll also mount the wheels. These are Vanquish Bully wheels. Also got those at RC Mart with some Proline BF Goodrich Baja TA tires. So there is a lot happening on this truck already so far. Next video will be about me painting the body, and then the video after that one, we're going to mount some accessories to the body, make it look a tiny bit more custom than it did when it came out of the box. So, well, that wraps it up. If you have any questions about any of these Samix upgrades that I've showed you today, leave them in the comments box. I always reply. If you want to have more information about Samix and the parts that they make for RC cars, because they don't just make parts for the Traxxas TRX4, but also for some axial trucks, and I think also for some on-road cars, go check out the link to their website in the video description box. Also links to my Facebook and Instagram, in case you want to be a tiny bit ahead of what's going on over here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this informative. If you did, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, it's free, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care, bye-bye.
We're back on.